What happened on The View this past Monday was not only beyond cringe, but basically it was just a tone deaf fiasco that proves one thing. The ladies who are on The View, or at least most of them, aren't living in the same world as the rest of us. The View hit peak insanity this week and it's not even close. Now, we've seen our fair share of goofy, embarrassing, and straight up insane takes from the View over the years. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This one right here might take the cake. You see, imagine going on national TV looking straight into the camera with a serious face and reporting. No, no, no. Declaring that a massive, market crash is happening while the market itself is literally going up. Okay. Now, not just stable, not just flat, going up. Okay. But the View didn't miss a beat. Nope. They just powered through the whole fiction with the kind of conviction bars that you'd expect from a bad high school play. Now, that's the level of denial that we're dealing with here on The View. Now, here's the clip in question right here.
If you voted for him and you think he cares about you, he doesn't. And I was thinking about, okay, why does this surprise us? America, you voted, not me, you voted for a failed businessman. He built up his narrative that he's such a great businessman. He had 6 corporate bankruptcies. He had failed businesses. Trump University.
2 casinos.
Trump Airlines. Trump Vodka. Trump casinos, Trump steaks, Trump Steakhouse in Vegas,
what
Trump
about the
Magazine.
Water?
Mean, I literally it's only a 1-hour show. I can't continue. But who told us over and over again and warned over and over again?
Hillary Clinton.
Can we play the clip?
16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession.
They fell short. It wasn't the middle of next year. We're in April.
Yes, right now.
It's already started.
I mean, I don't have much to add on it. I keep on thinking to myself, why tariffs? Why tariffs? And then I did some research, and Peter Navarro, who was one of the authors of Project 2025, he authored the trade section. It's called The Case for Fair Trade. And he makes it clear that the U.S. has to strengthen manufacturing and defense industrial bases here while improving the reliability of its global supply chains, which requires onshoring production. But as we all know, there's no labor force for onshore production. There's no infrastructure for onshore production. And most manufacturing jobs are being taken over by AI and by tech. So this whole thing Peter Navarro is behind it, and he's behind the why, and Donald Trump doesn't really care
Sonny,
at all.
Donald Trump has been...
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack with this right here, with these claims that these ladies are making on The View. Basically, from what I saw, it was like watching, a malfunctioning robot and stuff that's just desperately trying to stick to its programming. You see, The View was stuck on autopilot, basically refusing to process reality. You can see it in their eyes, but the script says chaos. That's what they must have been thinking. It seems like, next level NPC behavior, and it's proof that the panel on The View is just parroting whatever they're told without even bothering to look out the window. No real-time awareness, no critical thinking, just simply pure pre-scripted hysteria, okay? Towing the lines with the rest of what the mainstream media is saying. Now, that's what The View gave us, on this past Monday with this particular episode. Now, remember, this episode of The View opened with this dramatic intro where they saying nationwide protests against Trump policies and stuff as President Trump defends his economic plan amid chaos and stands firm as global stocks plunge. That's their claim they stated. First off, what chaos? What plunge? What planet are we living on? Because here in reality, the market was holding steady. In fact, it was in the green. But The View acted like we're reliving 1929, okay? Now, when you see people just simply, making these claims to their audience in real time, you have to call it out. You see, this wasn't just spin from The View. it was a pure, unmitigated meltdown of epic proportions. You see, they pre-wrote their outrage before anything actually happened. And when the market refused to go ahead and obey their doom and gloom fantasy and just went back up in the green, all of a sudden the View just ran the script anyway. That, my friends, is what we call insane cope, as I've said it a lot of times here on the show. Simply put, they wanted that crash so bad. You could feel it. They needed it, not for the good of the country. Oh, no. They needed it so that they can say, see, told you so, Trump bad, Orange Man bad because economy boom, boom. But the market didn't play along with their narrative. And instead of adjusting to reality like normal adults, they just plowed forward with this tone deaf hysteria. Okay, the View simply couldn't let go of their fake crisis. And honestly, it was like watching someone scream fire in an empty room while holding a bucket of water, insisting that the building is about to explode. Okay, and completely detached from the facts, as a matter of fact. And you want to know why this keeps happening, because the folks on The View are living in a fantasy world once again, a corporate funded political echo chamber where facts don't even matter and everything has to be filtered through partisan rage. Okay, so basically they're relying on the oopsie model, basically where they want ratings based on rage, just to sum it all up. But at this point, The View isn't even a talk show. It's a coordinated misinformation pipeline. Now, you think that segment was just a coincidence? No. They were just prepping for a crash. They were counting on it. The legacy media, ABC, NBC, all of them, even Fox News to an extent, they were pushing stories all weekend trying to go ahead and psych out the market. And when it didn't work, The View had a collective on air meltdown. Okay, and simply put, I mean, it was basically unexpected. But I mean, it seems to me the ladies on The View were hoping to tank investor confidence, scare the public, and create a narrative, a fake one that they could blame on someone they hate. But guess what? That simply backfired hard. Now, the market did hold up strong, and investors didn't bite. Well, at least some of them. The public didn't panic, and in that moment, The View got destroyed by reality, not by a person, not by a politician, but by reality itself. It basically exploded all up in their makeup covered faces. Now, you're trying to sell America on this idea of economic devastation and hardship. And one of those hosts up there on The View strolls out there dressed like, she just stepped out off a yacht. I mean, seriously, you can't make this stuff up. You see, these ladies here are so insulated, so out of touch that they think playing rich girl cosplay while talking about a fake Great Depression is a good look. You see, it's an insufferable combination of ignorance and arrogance, okay? And quite frankly, I mean, look, make no mistake, y'all. Just simply make no mistake. This right here, this is just the same kind of pattern. It's a pattern that we've seen The View and others lie about the definition of recession. We've seen them rewrite history. We've seen them, root against the country just to win a news cycle, okay? Now, this is a group of people who would rather see America fall or fail than admit they were wrong. That is what makes The View so dangerous. You see, they always say they're reporting the news. They're not reporting the news. They're trying to go ahead and manufacture it. You see, trying it to will it into existence, and it's the definition of gaslighting. You don't need to be an economist to see what's going on. This isn't about tariffs. It's not about inflation. It's about control, about manipulating public perception just to fit a particular narrative. Okay, and honestly, what this all reminds me of? Baghdad Bob. Okay, the guy from Iraq during the war. I mean, that war started when I was in middle school, it ended when I was my first year of college, standing in front of tanks and claiming that the Americans were losing. I mean, that's The View now. They're basically Baghdad Bob and Designer Hill screaming about, economic collapse while the market hits fresh highs. And the scariest part about that, The View doesn't even, seem to be embarrassed by it. You see, they're saying what they have want to say, have what they have to say, and run with it. That's how gone they are, how far gone they are. But at the end of the day, this is not about ratings. See, it's not even about the president. It's about, simply put, the media machine that can't admit when it's wrong. They seem to, matter of fact, they can't even break free from its own propaganda loop. And The View is the loudest, most cringing inducing, example of a machine in action. Now, when the media stops telling the truth and starts simply just manufacturing crises just to serve a political goal, it becomes a threat to democracy. And I don't say that lightly, okay? And yeah, that says a lot right now, and that's why people are tuning out of The View as well as mainstream media outlets. That's why the new media is taking over, independent media, because people are being tired of being lied to, tired of being treated like idiots, tired of being gaslit by a bunch of tone deaf elites who wouldn't even know a real crisis if it smacked them in the face. Now, The View had one job, okay? Talk about the news, but instead they just simply talk about fantasy, okay? And it's not even a good one. Just a lazy, bitter, out of touch piece of propaganda wrapped in a 5-minute screech fest, okay? And they wonder why no one or nobody trusts The View anymore, okay? But then that's just me putting it in a most gentle way. But you want to know how to fix this? Simply just get out of politics. Start talking about entertainment. Start talking about gossip stuff if you have to. Get back to the basics. Stop letting your personal hatred dictate your coverage, and you stop pretending that you can gaslight an entire country, because guess what? Just because you don't like the guy, okay? But until that happens, I mean, the View and the rest of legacy media are done. I mean, toast, irrelevant. Let them scream into the void. Let them have their, little tantrums, if you will, because America is waking up and we're not buying the nonsense anymore, whether you're on the left or the right and stuff. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for notifications, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, peace.